This is my Swiss Micros DM41L, and unfortunately, now probably due to the cold, there's a few sort of spots on the LCD. So Michael on the Swiss Micros forum has told me that if I temperature cycle this, hopefully they'll go away. So it's probably due to just cold, and this was in the workshop for a while, so it has definitely got cold recently. So oddly, when I got it out after finding it in the workshop, I'd temporarily mislaid it. There wasn't a spot on the display, it was fine. It was only after it went indoors that a spot appeared, and now, after it's been in there a little bit longer, it seems to be the spots are growing, so they're actually larger than they were yesterday. So what I'm going to do, rather than put the thing in an oven, I've got a hot air gun here. So I'm going to have a go. That goes down to 100 degrees C. I'm going to have a go at heating this up and back down several times, and we'll see if that solves the problem. So I'll take it apart first. I don't want to heat the PCB, definitely not the battery, up, so I'm going to take the battery out. I think because it's a hot air gun, it's going to be extremely localized, so I don't think there would be a problem leaving the battery in, but just to be on the safe side, it's coming out. So there we go, that's the inside. So I think, let's get the battery out first of all. There you go. One battery gone. Let's pop the two screws out. So I think, does that come out now, or does that need? Yeah. There we go. So there's the display and the dots. Let's try the heat gun a few times and see whether that makes a difference. Oh, it's darkening a bit there. Oh, it's fairly dark. Let's let it cool down a bit. It's not gone very dark. It's probably pretty hot though. Yeah, fairly hot. Has that made a difference? Doesn't look like it. Might need a bit more heat. I think that might be a bit smaller. So I'll give it another heat cycle. I don't think I was getting it hot enough. So I noticed on that run, as I warmed it up, the LCD sort of went black, then it went the same sort of bluish colour as the dots. So I think maybe I need to get it up to that blue colour, whatever that is, because that, I think that's a bit smaller, although I'm beginning to wonder now. Very difficult to tell. I'll have to look back at the video. Obviously I can't do that now. Oh, they're stubborn little dots, aren't they? I don't think that's changed too much. I'll give it a few more cycles, but I may put it in the oven and give it some longer cycles. It doesn't seem to be very hot actually. Has that changed? I think maybe that is a little bit smaller. Difficult to tell. I'll give it a few more cycles and we'll see what happens. Just heating up the one area, letting it cool down and heat it up and cool down. Let's see if the sort of heat movement in the heat cycling will cause some sort of change in that area. Doesn't really look like it. It's disappeared when I heat the area and then it comes back again, but maybe heating and cooling will make a difference. Let's see if that's making a difference at all. Doesn't really look like it, does it? So I've tried using the fan heater, which you can hear in the background, but that didn't really make any difference. So what I tried doing was running my finger up and down the display, see if I can move the liquid crystal around a little bit. And that does seem to have changed the dots. It's spread them out and sort of broken them up, but it's not removing them. So it's definitely made a difference. Let's see if I can get a closer shot of that. Definitely made a difference to the dots, but they're not going away. So I might try some heat on these now that they've spread out a little bit. I think the total area of dot, if that makes sense, is maybe about the same. It's just they've broken up and moved around, so it does imply that the crystal's in some sort of state which it's not coming out of or something. Quite strange. Well, maybe it'll be more susceptible to heat now. Let's have a look at that. That's looking a bit better actually, I think, maybe. So it seems to have made a difference. Try some more cycles. What does it look like? Maybe it's the same. It's difficult to tell. It's not as noticeable now. It just looks like a bit of dust on the display, sort of. I wonder if I can move it out of the display and off to one side. I wonder if that's possible. Yeah, well. This is the LCD under the microscope, and you can see that these purple blobs. If I move around, you can see the lines there. They're the gaps between the pixels, I think. So that's the corner of 4 of the pixels. and it does seem to be a different coloured material. You can see there's quite a few of them, and they've separated into little blobs. Move over here, there's a larger. If I can find it. I haven't got my normal XY controls working here because I can't fix the PCB to the stage very firmly, or at least not to the slide holder. It's not the same size as a slide. So if we can get that in focus. There we go. So that's the big one. So the other focus point here, I think, is the back of the LCD. But there, that's the larger bit with some of the pixel gaps. I think they're gaps anyway. But does look like a different coloured material is in with the liquid crystal. Maybe it's oxidised or something. I have no idea about chemistry. So if I get the hot air gun and put that on there, you can see that it actually moves around depending on where the gun is. So I'm now heating that up and it's changing shape. It doesn't seem to be getting any smaller. So I'll get in there and heat that up and change the colour a bit. Yeah, you can see there's liquid crystals moving around there. There's bits. That's interesting. There's bits of the purple, smaller bits of the purple in the liquid crystal. I haven't noticed that before. Yeah, small bits there. I wonder if I can get a better view of that. So, well, it's just for interest, this. See what we can see. And we can see purple blobs. I think there's quite a lot everywhere, isn't there? It's all through there. I think that's just been broken up. I wonder if I can get a higher magnification on that. Alright, so I can't actually focus on that because of the distance between the objective and the purple blob, the glass of the LCD. Means that I haven't got enough room to actually focus on it. I need to put the objective into the glass. The only objective I've got that will actually work and has a far enough focal length is the ×10 objective, and that's that one. So that's the only actual objective I can use. But that's what we're looking at. They're the purple blobs. And there's lots of little tiny ones around that larger one there. So I might still try the oven, but not sure that's going to work. I've given it quite a lot of heat cycling already, but we'll see. So I'm looking elsewhere on the LCD here, and there's little purple blobs everywhere. So it looks like whatever it is everywhere on this display. So let's put it somewhere else and focus it. There you go. Little purple blobs everywhere, tiny ones. So I put the battery back in and everything's fine. What I was going to do was try and have a look at... Let's put some characters on the display. Let's put a lot of 8s on there, so I was going to try and have a look and see how the dots little purple blobs related to the segment. So there's an LCD segment and there's a blob. Get that into focus. So that does seem to be in the same plane, because you can see there's a gap down at the bottom, or around the edge of that blob there is a gap. So I think that means that the LCD that is turned on the right hand side, the material is something different where that lighter purple blob is. So that's the corner of a pixel there, well, 2 pixels. See if I can move it around. Yep, so there's another few pixels of the 8 that I put on the display. Yeah, it does look like the material is something else, so maybe that's oxidized. Maybe there's a problem with this display, because those little purple blobs are everywhere throughout the material. Maybe there's a leak in the display or something, I don't know. As you can also see, there are gaps and something crawling across my microscope. That's brilliant. You can also see there's gaps in that pixel. So those little tiny purple dots, which are over on the left hand side where the pixel's off, are also in the pixel on the right hand side. So all those little speckles, they're little purple areas which are stopping the LCD from switching on properly. There we go. So yeah, the material's changed to something else. So that's the display on again. These are a few pixels of the digit 8, and those purple blobs, let me find a better one. Let's find a purple blob somewhere. Where are they? Down here somewhere. So those purple blobs there, get that into focus. So they do look very much like this purple. Let's get that into focus. That purple there, they look very much like that material, which is around the edge of the LCD. I'm not sure what it is, whether it's the actual glue or it's just oxidized LCD. So it does look like the same colour material, whatever that is. There. So this has been through 3 cycles of 90 minutes at 70 degrees C. The display went completely black in there. So I left it 70 for 90 minutes, then let it cool down and then put it back in. Did that 3 times, and it seems to be worse than it was before. Now it's gone cold again back in the workshop, but when it came out of the 3rd cycle there were just 3 dots on the display, but now quite a lot more, so not sure what's going on there. Seems to have made it worse, if anything. So yeah, I'll probably do some more cycles just to see if that does improve it, but at the moment it's not looking too good. At least, strangely, they've all collected together again, whatever the stuff is, and in the same place roughly, and roughly the same shape, but with an extra sort of pattern on the bottom left. I've baked the calculator for, well, quite a while actually. So I baked it for 3 cycles of 70 degrees C for 90 minutes, and that didn't do anything. Then I tried 90 minutes at 80 degrees C, and that did reduce the dots. Well, actually on the 70 degrees C they did disappear, but they came back again. And on the 80 degrees C they disappeared even more, but did come back again. Then I tried 85 degrees C for 90 minutes, and this is what happened. They disappeared, and everything seems fine now. So that's quite good. Everything's working, and yeah, I can't see any evidence of the dots at all. So seems to be fixed at the moment, but we'll see how long it lasts. But I think this might have to stay in the warm and not in the cold. Although, I mean, it's fixable, and I do have other calculators that are in the cold, so I don't really know what the difference is with this one. Maybe there isn't anything and all the others are going to do the same, but there we go. Working again. Well, it was working, but the display's undotified. So after the dots had disappeared due to the baking in the oven, back under the microscope, and there are still some of those little purple dots there, but there's no large ones, so whatever they are, they haven't collected together or done whatever they do to make the larger dots. So at the moment everything's okay.